I'm going to invite Becca Tome. I'm hoping I'm saying that. Tom? Becca Tom? Perfect. And Doug Squibbs up for the report of LSS.
Tum, like the antacid. Without the royalties. My name is Becca. I work at Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota, and I work with congregations and people in those congregations, so everyone here. I started my role in January, so I am just a few months in, and I was given as my first task on the job to identify a Servant of Christ awardee within each of the 6 synods of Minnesota. First, I had to learn what was a Servant of Christ award. That is, congregations in each synod who are engaged in the ministry of LSS in a unique and powerful way that serve the mission and serve the people of LSS and are committed in a variety of ways. Unique. I formed a committee. I read the nominations, and I thought, this is the best possible way to start a job. I get to learn about all the cool things you as a church are doing around the Northeastern Synod of Minnesota, as well as around the state. I got to read about all the cool ways that my colleagues were doing work, and I didn't think it could get any better. Until I got to call the awardees and tell them the news. When I spoke with the pastor of this year's Northeastern Synod Award, I got kind of the most Midwestern Lutheran response. Quote, "I thought we were just doing what the church called us to do." I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues in a video who are going to share some highlights of all the work you do around the state, around this synod, and highlighting one church in particular. Then I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Doug, who works with this church. Doug works in our youth and family services and has a strong connection with the church that you will be hearing about in this video.
Thank you. Greetings. I am Pastor Catherine Teedy. I serve here at Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota under a call from the St. Paul Area Synod. LSS is honored to serve as the shared social ministry of all 6 ELCA synods in the state of Minnesota. Partnerships with faith communities are woven into our identity, reaching back to our founding in 1865 when a Lutheran pastor and his congregation decided to care for 4 orphaned children. That single act of kindness sparked a movement of loving our neighbors that continues today stronger than ever. Thanks to the generous support of faithful friends like you, LSS has a presence in all 87 counties of our state. Together, we touch the lives of 1 in 63 Minnesotans each year. Behind those numbers are real people, our neighbors, whose lives are impacted because congregations like yours care. Our mission at LSS is to express the love of Christ for all people through service that inspires hope, changes lives, and builds community. And you bring that mission to life in so many meaningful ways. Today, we'll be honoring one congregation in each of the 6 ELCA synods with LSS's annual Servant of Christ Award. These honorees are truly extraordinary. But I also want every congregation hearing this to know we are grateful for all of you. To show what our shared impact looks like in real human terms, I'd love for you to hear from my colleague Christina, who sees lives transformed firsthand in her work with adoption and foster care.
Hi, I'm Christina Berg, and it's my privilege to walk alongside children and families during pivotal moments in their lives. I'd like to share one story that I hope inspires you as much as it inspires me. Recently, we worked with a family who opened their hearts and their home to 5 siblings awaiting adoption from Minnesota Foster Care, all ages 7 and under. This incredible couple had never parented before, yet when they learned these brothers and sisters needed to stay together, their answer was simple: yes, we'll do it. That yes set so much into motion. Thanks to state contracts LSS holds, the family's adoption expenses were largely covered. Our team pulled clothing, supplies, and toys from our community closet, gifts made possible entirely through donations, many of which are from our partners at congregations. After the adoption was finalized, we continued to provide them with ongoing support services, parent coaching, and training. And through family activities and connection events, we helped them build the community they would need for the journey ahead. Success stories like that aren't random. They're the result of communities stepping forward with compassion. For all the ways you show up for our neighbors, I want to say thank you. Your kindness matters. And now it's my honor to hand things over to LSS President Patrick Tucson, who will introduce our Servant of Christ awardees.
Thank you, Catherine and Christina, for reminding us of the profound and personal impact our shared work has on the lives of Minnesotans. I'm always grateful for the chance to lift up our congregational partners. Selecting one congregation from each synod is never easy, which is a wonderful challenge to have. The LSS Servant of Christ Award recognizes congregations that demonstrate outstanding leadership in social ministry, faith communities who embody compassion, hospitality, and a deep commitment to loving their neighbors in a meaningful way alongside LSS. This year, it is my honor to present the LSS Servant of Christ Award to Our Savior's Lutheran Church of Hibbing in the Northeastern Minnesota Synod. For many years, Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Hibbing has been a steadfast partner to LSS, serving with deep compassion and a commitment that has touched lives across the Iron Range. They were nominated by a team member from LSS Range Youth and Family Services who has witnessed their kindness firsthand. When families in crisis needed a safe, welcoming place to reconnect, Our Saviors opened their doors without hesitation, offering space for supervised visits that help parents and children begin to heal. Their dedication to youth and to their broader community runs deep, grounded in the belief that all are transformed by Christ's love and grace. Through their ministry, they continue to be a source of stability, hope, and healing for their neighbors. And we are profoundly grateful that they choose to partner with LSS in this vital work. Today we celebrate not only their generous service, but the spirit of compassion and faith that has guided them every step of the way. To our friends at Our Savior's Lutheran Church, thank you. And to all of our congregational partners across the ELCA and throughout Minnesota, thank you. Thank you for the countless ways you express Christ's love in your communities. Together we are creating a future in which all people have the opportunity to live and work in community with full and abundant lives. Thank you for the incredible work you are doing.
All right. That was wonderful, wasn't it? All right. So let me get on the right page here. Good morning, everybody. Wow, what a great day. And first and foremost, I'd like to say congratulations to the new bishop and vice president. But furthermore, I would like to give a wholehearted thanks to everybody who wakes up every morning in service to another. Truly, you are an inspiration, and every one of you are a hero to me. My name is Doug Squibbs, and I'm a high-fidelity wraparound counselor. In short, it's kind of like we call it a motivational interviewer. And I work with high-fidelity families, at-risk youth, to stabilize their home and bring them into the light and bring them from striving to thriving mentality. It's not easy work all the time, but as an LSS counselor, we work with a strength-based philosophy that every family has positives no matter where they might find themselves, or if they can't see it themselves. Our goal is we meet the family oftentimes on site in their home to experience the way they live and how their family functions uniquely. However, this morning I want to take a moment to reflect on what it means to be a servant of Christ. To us, this recognition reflects the strength, longevity, and richness of a relationship between the congregation and LSS. More, it honors those who demonstrate an extraordinary social ministry leadership within their community. And when you think about it, one can't help but say is, from my personal experience, what's not to like about Hibbing's Our Savior's Lutheran Church? Honestly, every time I walk into the church, I am just completely struck by all the stained glass windows, and I am still learning all their meetings. Last night I was on their website, and I think I'm about halfway through, but I'm slowly working it. And just the unique craftsmanship of the building. I swear, every time I'm in there, there's a calm and indescribable peace and serenity always settles in. And I feel like I'm just witnessing an antiquity or history every time I walk around its halls. But the church is more than a building. It's a community and a family that's happening what's in that brings it to life. You know, be it Wednesday morning Bible study, the recent organ refurnishment, pie socials, or a fun fellowship bowling while their pastor is away. These aren't just activities, they are expressions of community connection and care. And congregations like this one remind us why we're all here. Thank you, Pastor Kevin, and the entire Lutheran Fellowship. Thank you for opening your doors to LSS, because often the space you provide is the road to healing begins. And furthermore, we have parents as teachers, coaches that come in and work with our families. It's not just visitation. And we're currently exploring possibly a safe space for at-risk families. You can truly reflect, well, one can truly reflect what Martin Luther spoke about when he called us to be little Christ to one another in both word and deed. So I say let this award not be a capstone, but a milestone in our relationship, a point along the journey as we continue to bring hope and connection and healing to places where it is hard to find. You are an inspiration. I can think of no other fellowship more deserving than this award. God bless, and thank you.
Becca was too generous with respect to our telephone call. I remember when she called. It was a Wednesday afternoon at 3:25 in the afternoon. And I said, Becca says, "Pastor Kevin, how you doing?" And I said, "Well, Becca, it's Lent." I had a funeral earlier in the week, and I am behind for the better part of the week. I had a bunch of confirmants who are going to help me with the midweek Lenten service, and they all bailed to go down to the state high school hockey tournament. Imagine that. To go watch Hibbing play at the state high school hockey tournament or puppets in the midweek Lenten service. Which would you choose? Well, they chose. I said, "Becca, I live on the Iron Range now. I've been here 11 years. I have a very, very, very thin skin. So go ahead, lay it on me." I was thinking that, she was going to be asking for money or something. And then Becca said, "Well, Pastor Kevin, you just won the Servant of Christ Award." And I said, "Really?" And at that point, have you ever been at that point where you wish you could rewind the past 30 seconds? That's where I was. But for such a time as this, as we sung, that's what LSS has always been about. From that first Swedish immigrant pastor, Eric Norelius, who took up those Swedish orphans all through the generations. Carlin Hahn, our voting member here to my left, he adopted through LSS, and so many other families have done that. And LSS goes where other places don't want to go, truly. They go in families that are in great distress. They know how to do it, and they know how to do it well. Many other social agencies are cumbered with a lot of bureaucratic stuff I would like to use a better word than that, but you know what I'm saying. And LSS, they get the job done. And unfortunately, they have been, maligned through cutbacks to different organizations and whatnot, but our dollars are well spent with everything we give towards LSS. And it is our privilege at Our Savior's Lutheran Church to be in accompaniment with you. And we look forward to doing many things in the near future. As we're well aware up here in northern Minnesota, we are often underfunded and understaffed in so many different ways. And LSS, again, gets the job done for such a time as this. Thank you. We are humbled by this award.